and I decided I had better get the lowdown. Now, anarchists don't care too much for government, that much I knew. Beyond that, I figured they must prefer some kind of free co-op type society. Maybe that's up our alley, I thought. I mean, DIY, do it yourself. That's the meat and potatoes of rock and roll, right? Right, I said.
He wants to work in the hospital, in a white suit in the cancer ward, fascinated by liquids being poured. Walls painted white, there are countless for. Soccer man's attention span is a 7-second loop. This is why he plays it eye. He watches wheels go round and then he thinks a thought beyond his ken. Away it goes.
I've been looking all around town and seeing graffitied on walls and sometimes on people's leather jackets this circled A. Can you describe, and here it is on the wall in what looks like a Canadian flag but isn't quite. Can you describe what it means?
Well, I can tell you about this flag at least. You'll note that it's green and black, which are the complementary colors to our own Canadian red and white flag. And you might say that has anti-Canadian sentiments. It's not that we're against the people of Canada, but we're against fundamentally the concept of a country at all.
It's not fair that if you're born a few miles away from the border of a country that you're deprived of food and clothing and education. There should be no countries.
What we appreciate about the anarchist ideal is the freedom aspect. And Believer's Voice of Victory is very pro-self-control.
Believer's Voice of Victory lived together in a house they call Cathedral A. They gave me the old nickel and dime tour.
We do look at the world a little bit differently from a lot of people I know.
Now, before you were quite anxious that we didn't make an association in this program between the group, Believer's Voice of Victory, and those people or those groups known as anarchists. I'm wondering why you're so concerned about that for two reasons. One, if you have a political belief, why not carry it through to the end? Two, anarchists are not necessarily violent people. They may be thought of as that, but the true definition of anarchism doesn't necessarily have anything to do with violent overthrow of government or anything like that.
Well, the term probably has connotations in most people's minds that we don't want to be associated with, and so we could try and come up with a new term that has some aspects of anarchy, but it's better for us to just define our own terms, give the definition so that people know exactly what we're talking about.
What is the definition?
Listen to the lyrics.
Slap together, triple set, hold straight for the back, street take myself. Detox the holy water. Street take myself. Undo your stupid slaughter. At the beat of the guitar, singing in the crowd, but we will do it ever have a voice pop aloud. Street from Trevor, time for the law. I look like it's simply not understood at all. Retake myself. Seek out all information. Retake myself. Burn out the Persian nation!
We all live in this house. It's easier to practice if we all live in the same space.
I believe a healthy
One word that you were bandying around before was psychor. Now, can you tell me what that is?
Psychor is essentially the music that we make. It's a combination of the mind-expanding and creative aspects of psychedelic 60s music without the use of drugs. We basically condemn all drugs. And it blends that with the political motivation, the aggressiveness, assertion, and life orientation of hardcore, which is a faction, or what's left of the punk movement. Well, I shouldn't say what's left of, because it's larger than the punk movement ever was.
Don't feel sorry. They're not going to be retake myself. Re-elect your candidate. Retake myself. Erase the art of the state.
I talked to Believer's Voice of Victory on the eve of their maritime tour. They'll be traveling with some friends of the Anarchists Collective, a 3-year-old Toronto band called the Polkaholics.
The first time I saw the Polkaholics was at the Beverly Tavern the other night. There weren't a lot of people there, but the music was quite wonderful, even though it didn't seem to adhere to any known formulas or rules of conventional popular music. Can you describe what the music is all about?
The music is about trying to do something different than what your actual viewer would expect or your listener would expect. And that, like for me, I totally missed the whole rock and roll thing, right? I was into progressive music and everything, and so from there I just tried to do something different.
The whole idea of the thing was to try and do music that was new and original. Otherwise, I couldn't really see much point in trying to do.
At least you knew he didn't say.
Everything's a contradiction. Like, to me, everything's a contradiction. That's what happens in our music and the way that I write. So it's like, everything comes in from it and collides, and there's friction. Like a chance meeting between an umbrella and a toaster on an operating table.
The interesting thing that's going on in this house that I like is a mistrust of conventions, that you're interested in simply being individual according to your own individual tastes and not pandering to broader, more commercial items. There's a mistrust of the media on the refrigerator over here. No media for fools and liars. But here we are, the media, talking to you. How do you get across that contradiction? You're willing to talk to us, but you dislike us so much.
It's not really dislike. Distrust.
Distrust, not dislike.
People distrust us, and yet people come to see us. It's not like a hatred or anything. It's just a mistrust, a fear of allowing somebody to come and steal a second of us and take it and make it into a freak show or something like that.
One of your enterprises is your own record company, Utility Grade Records, on which your own group, the Polkaholics, were released. And this was your first EP, and I was just wondering if I could have one.
Sure.
$4.
For $4, yeah.
You charge me $4? I think that's a very reasonable.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a very reasonable price. I'll pay.
The cover art was all done by hand. Silkscreen 1,000 copies. Took us many long hours.
I'll pay $4 for that record.
$4 for that.
I hope I like it.
Most records are made at over half the cost was the packaging of records.
I think $4 is an excellent deal. The new Rolling Stones record costs $13.
Really?
We're gonna put out another record.
It's going to be Rolling Stone covers.
He played bongos in his closet to his collection of surf music records. He had an Enid Funicello blow-up doll. He drawn fish mask, donned a rubber shark face mask, and prowled the supermarkets for fish sticks. But all he really wanted to be was Frankie Avalon. Surfing through the swamp. Surfing through the swamp. Surfing through the swamp. Surfing through the swamp.
The new music will be right back after these messages with the Rolling Stones.